Most people assume younger women are naturally drawn to older men, and often that assumption holds weight. Experience, emotional steadiness, perspective earned through time, security. These traits give older men an edge younger men simply haven't had enough years to develop. But here's the truth most don't want to face. Attraction doesn't disappear because of age. It disappears because of how that age is worn. I've watched men in their 40s, 50s, and beyond repeat the same errors endlessly. And each time the outcome is the same. They don't just lose interest. They lose respect. And once respect is gone, attraction never even has the opportunity to form. That's the real loss. Because older men already possess everything required. They just handle it wrong. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need to pretend to be younger, wealthier, or more fashionable. You only need to eliminate 7 behaviors that quietly suffocate attraction. In this video, we'll break down 7 patterns older men fall into without realizing it. Patterns that erase attraction and dismantle respect before it ever has a chance to grow. This has nothing to do with youth, nothing to do with money, status, or tactics. It's about presence, perspective, and how you hold yourself. If you want to understand female psychology through a calm, grounded, stoic lens and avoid the subtle mistakes that push people away without warning, this video is for you. Welcome to Silent Stoic. Let's begin. 1. Placing her above you. You meet a younger woman. She moves with confidence. She's composed, attractive, at ease with herself. And without noticing, something shifts inside you. Your thoughts speed up. Don't mess this up. She's probably out of your league. So instead of being present, you start performing. You dilute your opinions. You agree when you don't mean it. You weigh every sentence, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Gradually, who you actually are fades into the background. Here's the truth most men avoid. No one is attracted to someone who looks up at them from below. Attraction forms between equals. The moment you elevate her, you lower yourself. You communicate a silent message. You matter more than I do. And even when it's subtle, that message carries weight. It feels like pressure. And pressure destroys attraction. Insecurity doesn't need volume to be detected. It shows up in your voice, your posture, your pauses. The shift happens when you humanize her. She isn't a symbol, not a reward, not a verdict on your worth. She's a person with flaws, uncertainty, and ordinary moments just like you. Speak without tying your value to the outcome. Stop seeking approval. Start showing up as an equal. Confidence isn't domination. It isn't arrogance, and it's never admiration from a distance. Confidence is quiet presence. It's knowing you belong without needing permission. That's when attraction finally has room to grow. 2. Being uneasy about your age. So how old are you? It sounds harmless, casual, but for many men it lands like a spotlight. Your shoulders tighten. Your voice shifts. Your certainty slips, just for a moment, and that moment says everything, not because of the number itself, but because of how you deliver it. The hesitation frames your age as a liability, and when you treat something as a weakness, others instinctively follow. Here's what most men overlook. Age doesn't weaken attraction. Doubt does. Your years represent experience, emotional regulation, lessons paid for with time, but none of it counts if you carry it with shame. You don't need to justify your age. You don't need to explain your history, and you don't need to apologize for existing. State it plainly, calmly, the same way you'd say your name. No jokes to mask discomfort. No defensive edge. No softening the truth. Confidence isn't denying age. It's being at peace with it. When you're grounded, age becomes context, not constraint. When you hesitate, it becomes a burden you created. People take cues from you. If you're settled in your reality, they settle with you. Own your age. It isn't something to overcome. It's something that works quietly in your favor when you stop resisting it. 3. Leading with success or status. Some older men slowly build their identity around achievement. Decades of effort, sacrifice, long nights that finally paid off. So when they meet someone new, they believe this is their strongest leverage. They lead with titles. They talk careers, milestones, travel, the life they've constructed, not intentionally to impress, but to validate their worth. Here's the issue. Achievement doesn't create attraction. It creates exchange. The moment you present yourself as a provider first, you turn into a resource, not a person. And resources are replaceable. Real interest doesn't grow from numbers or possessions. It grows from how you occupy the moment. Your composure, your restraint, your principles. Money can't imitate those. This doesn't mean success is irrelevant. It means it shouldn't speak before you do. When accomplishments are highlighted early, It often reveals uncertainty, as if your value requires evidence. A centered man doesn't advertise himself. He allows his presence to speak. Let success surface naturally without announcement. When it arrives quietly, it adds depth. When it leads the introduction, it replaces substance. Your work should support who you are, not substitute for it. Because the strongest confidence isn't listing what you've built. It's knowing you're enough without reciting it. 4. Acting like a teacher instead of a man. Many older men don't notice this shift until connection is already slipping away. It begins with good intentions. They want to help, to guide, to pass on what life taught them. So they explain. They advise. They instruct. Conversation slowly turns into a lecture, and without realizing it, they place themselves above the other person, not as an equal, but as an authority. Here's what's actually happening. Wisdom becomes armor. It's safer to talk at someone than to be present with them. It avoids vulnerability. It avoids tension. But the cost is real. You may sound intelligent, informed, capable, yet the connection feels hollow, because facts don't create chemistry. Energy does. You become impressive but not engaging. Connection isn't built through correction or instruction, it's built through shared moments, through lightness, through emotional exchange and presence. This doesn't mean wisdom has no place. It means it must be balanced. Authority without warmth kills polarity. Remove playfulness and curiosity disappears. A grounded man doesn't need to lecture to earn respect. His attentive, composed presence already communicates it. Wisdom is powerful when invited. Attraction grows when it's paired with humor, warmth, and humanity. The objective isn't to teach someone how to live. It's to create an environment where connection can exist. Balance insight with presence. Guidance with curiosity. That's where interest begins. 5. Forcing youth. Some men think the answer is obvious. Look younger. So they imitate what they see. Slang that doesn't fit. Clothes that fight their body instead of complementing it. Behavior that feels borrowed rather than lived. And it shows. Quietly, but unmistakably. Authenticity can't be copied. Trying to appear younger doesn't signal confidence. It signals discomfort with who you are now. And that tension is felt immediately. There's nothing wrong with caring about how you look, but there's a difference between refinement and disguise. Confidence doesn't come from denying time. It comes from standing firmly in the years you've earned. Dress sharp, not trendy. Wear clothing that respects your build and presence. Maintain discipline in habits, posture, routines, and speak naturally. The moment you force language or mannerisms that aren't yours, you create distance, not because of age, but because of inauthenticity. Your experience shows in how you move, listen, and respond. That's not a flaw, it's leverage. When you stop competing with youth and start embodying maturity, something shifts. You become grounded, solid. And that grounded presence is more compelling than any trend you could mimic. Don't erase your years. Let them work for you. 6. Turning dialogue into a résumé. Some men don't notice when conversation quietly becomes a presentation. They start listing what they've done, where they've been, what they've achieved, careers, titles, past wins, not from arrogance, but from a belief that these stories define their worth. On paper, it may sound impressive, but attraction doesn't grow on paper. It grows in the space between two people. The more you talk about yourself, the less space there is for connection. The more achievements you list, the colder the moment becomes. Interest isn't built through information, it's built through presence. Being fully there, listening without rehearsing your reply, responding, not performing. A conversation isn't a resume. It's an exchange of energy. A centered man doesn't feel compelled to prove himself. He doesn't rush to impress. He allows silence. His confidence is felt in his patience, his calm, his ability to make others feel seen. When you're truly present, your value doesn't need explanation. It's already communicated through tone, attention, and restraint. Achievements matter, but they don't need an opening statement. They surface naturally with time. Connection comes first. Everything else follows. 7. Neglecting physical presence. Experience alone isn't sufficient. Years can give you perspective and calm, but none of it matters if your presence contradicts it. People read you before you speak. how you enter a room, how you stand, how you care for yourself. These details communicate more than words ever will. You don't need to look young. That's not the goal. You need to look disciplined. Discipline shows in fundamentals: clean grooming, clothing that fits your body, posture that signals control, a body that reflects self-investment. This isn't vanity, it's respect. When you neglect your appearance, you quietly signal that you've stopped valuing yourself, and people respond to that energy without understanding why. Self-respect is visible. It shows in consistency, not extremes. You don't need perfection, you need intention. A man who takes care of himself doesn't ask for respect. He draws it in. Others feel it immediately, before he speaks, before he explains anything. Your experience becomes powerful only when it's carried by a presence that reflects discipline. Take care of yourself, not to impress, but to honor who you are. When you do, the world responds differently. At the center of all these habits is a single truth. Attraction isn't about effort, it's about ownership. When you stop proving, stop performing, and stop hiding behind insecurity, something shifts. Respect arrives first. Attraction follows naturally. If this resonated, reflect not on what you need to add, but on what you need to remove. And if you value calm authority, emotional control, and stoic clarity in a loud world, support the channel by liking this video, subscribing to Silent Stoic for more grounded, timeless insight, and commenting below which habit stood out most to you and why. Your engagement helps this message reach the men who need it. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay silent. See you in the next video. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.